Welcome back to another Entertainment Roundup. I'm J77, and we got a couple of stories I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about the story that just got my attention through Double Toasted. They have done a stream on it. They talked about it, which I didn't know actually happened until I actually did some more research, and then I found out that not only that this was a major issue, but it was also covered by the Daily News. How did I miss that? I don't know. But nevertheless, I have read up on it, saw a news report about it, even saw some of the blogs that people have done, and even some of the people who have commented on some of the reports that has occurred. And after seeing it, I can actually safely say I can make my own opinion about it. This is involving Mike Tyson basically going off on a TV reporter after bringing up a very, very touchy part of his past. Now, you're kind of wondering what that is. In case you haven't, don't know much about Mike Tyson's boxing career, or also some of his legal problems that he had, I'll maybe just fill you in. Mike Tyson was promoting a show that he had done on Broadway. He had taken it on the road, and it is in Canada. And during his stay in Canada, he also went and visited Rob Ford, who is the mayor of Toronto. There was some report that he's endorsed him, even praised him on the interview show. This prompted, or at least from this reporter, which his name is Nathan Dower, to ask him a question that not only turned the interview, which started off comfortably, nobody was upset, everybody was loose and happy. This prompted him to go. This prompted him to ask a question that changed that whole entire environment. Now, this is something because, as you know, Rob Ford is being running for re-election in Toronto, despite his own shaky past that pretty much left his office in scrutiny for pretty much for almost a year and a half, 2 years now. And because of this, we had this question come up, and this is what the person who was doing the interview has said. Some of your critics would say, "There's a race for mayor. We know that you're a convicted rapist. This could hurt his campaign. How would you respond to that?" Now, Tyson, of course, didn't take too lightly of it at first. He was collected about it. He said that he don't know who said it. He said it. I'm not going to be negative about it. You're going to be negative about it. But he was going to leave it at B. But as the interview went on, Tyson's anger and frustration have shown where he just basically cursed the guy out. Even though his publicist, the person who was with him, the publicist, the person who will promote his shows, tried to keep it as friendly as he possibly could, it was already too late, and needless to say, it led to him cursing him out to the point where he couldn't even finish the interview, and they just left it at that. Now, Young Turks had pretty much was mixed on it. Anna Pastor said she had no problem answering the questions. A lot of people felt that he was being ambushed, especially when a lot of people, if you look at the comment section, was like saying that he was set up. I will say this. Tyson has, if I was in that position and that question was asked like this, I would probably be upset as well. Tyson, who was trying to be lighthearted, trying to talk about his show as well as why he was there with Ron Ford, did not really expected that kind of question to be hit the way it was, and it was just hit smack into his face. With that being said, you know what you got on your jacket. Sooner or later, somebody, whether they intended to do it to be malicious or just want to ask questions involving the political skill and how your past may impact that, do you think that's going to be a concern about that? You gotta expect they're gonna ask that question, and I think for Tyson's people, they should have told him, look, when some of these interviews, you gotta expect that's gonna happen. You need to know how to work around it, or just answer it where you say, hey, I'm not that same person. That person is gone. Leave it alone. And I think that that whole thing that has transpired was a perfect example of that. I think he tried to handle it well. I think eventually his temper his anger got the better of him with that. With that being said, the reporter was out of line, guys. I mean, let's be realistic here. That he had no reason to ask him that. I was stunned that he even went that route. And needless to say, I believe he was trying to be malicious. I think he would be cold, and there was no need for that. First of all, the fact, yeah, I understand Raw 4 is running for re-election. That's no question about it. But you know, Tyson is not going to make his reputation no worse or better than what it already has been by Ron Force's own hands. Ron Force is not a squeaky clean guy. He has a lot of stuff he has done, both on camera and off camera. So to say that he's that his race is going to be tarnished is ridiculous. To me, I just think they try to use it as an excuse to bring something that has happened years ago in Tyson's past. Again, Tyson should have expected that happen, no question about it. But to me, you gotta question the reporter for doing that. And to me, he's not really a actual real beat guy to him to be answering that kind of question. So I kind of wonder, what was he thinking? What was the real cause behind that? Because I really ain't buying he did that just to get get it down and dirty about elections and how it is. I seriously even doubt the critics even came to his thought. I don't know who these critics are because I haven't heard nothing about him hurting Ron Ford or any other politician for that matter. I think this was just him just trying to be cute and ended up backfiring because he tried desperately to steer away from that and he couldn't, and Tyson wouldn't. And the fact that he was actually surprised that Tyson was acting the way that is, you did ambush the guy. You just did a 163 on him. Shouldn't be surprised he would respond the way he did. Again, people are mixed with this. I'll let you guys decide for yourself, but it is something that I think in the future, I think some of the people who was in Tyson's ear should say, hey, look, like it or not, it could be 10 years, it could be 15 years since that incident. They're going to bring it up, especially when you're around public political figures. Just know how to work around it, or most importantly, let the publisher speak for you when it comes to those touchy issues. With that being said, I'm going to leave you guys to comment on that. I'd like to hear your opinion on that. I'm moving on to another touchy issue, and that is the Rihanna situation. Alright, I mentioned this briefly. I didn't go too far into this in J&J Mondays because, one, it was a long episode, and two, some technical problems forced me to cut it to 3 parts. So I didn't want to go too dive into it because I didn't trust my signal at the time. But being done pre-recording, I have no problem talking about it now. As you know, Rihanna's song, or many might say joint song, Run This Town, has been pulled from CBS. Their reasoning, what they are saying is that they was wanted to focus on the coverage of the Ray Rice situation, as you guys know, that has pretty much flooded on news channels, both Sporting World and this News Abroad, and it pretty much was the main center of attention the whole week. With this being said, CBS had made a decision to pull not only just that song, but other stuff they was actually had planned. Now, Rihanna didn't take too kindly of that. She actually did a tweet and basically explaining her feelings towards what they have done. Here's what it says here in a good portion of the article, which I have here right here. A portion of JC's Run This Town featuring Rihanna was cut from the last Thursday Baltimore Ravens and Pittsburgh Steelers game because CBS was covering the controversy over the Ravens running back. Rice assaulted his wife, fiance. That's what they was covering. CBS planned to use the song Thursday and for the rest of the season, but Rihanna tweeted, CBS, you pulled my song last week. You wanted to slide it back in this Thursday. You're all sad for penalizing me for this. She added in explicits. Now, CBS have issued a statement saying that they're moving a different direction with different theme music. Meanwhile, the Jay-Z Rock Nation company, which managed Rihanna and others, said that they had made a decision not to grant the song uses. Rock Nation said it felt CBS misled the public when it announced the song used for its telecast giving the impression that Rihanna is recording specific music for the project. The company said it never saw or approved the new release issued by CBS. So there's a lot of stuff going on with who did what, who did where, and it's strange how that thing continued on and on and on. So it says a new release issued on September stated that CBS Sports and NFL Network will open each game with a Thursday Night Football in 2014 with Jay-Z's Grammy Award-winning Run This Town featuring megastar Rihanna. It said the song would be paired with the narration of Don Chasdale, I believe his name is. The song was one of a handful of elements of CBS cut out of the inaugural Thursday night telecast. At the time, CBS Sports President Sheen McMillis said Rihanna's own history of victim and domestic violence was one part of the decision, but not the overriding one. The song was to be featured in 6 of the Thursday night games CBS broadcast this fall, plus 8 more on the NFL Network. The article also says that the spokesperson for Rihanna had not immediately commented on the CBS decision to on her client's tweet. The decision means a specific loss of the weekly exposure for Rihanna's work. More than 10 million people watched the opening of the telecast last Thursday, according to the Nielsen's company. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's happening here. Let me first go on and say, when I first heard this story, I was kind of shocked that CBS would make that decision based on what is happening with the Ray Rice situation and how they felt they didn't want any distraction. Because that's what it came out. Most news said they cut it because they didn't want any distractions with the Ray Rice scenario. They didn't say they was covering any Ray Rice story. They specifically said Pix 11 News, Channel 9 or My 9, and ABC and Fox, a lot of news, and as well as some cable news, that said they did it because they didn't want any distractions because of what the Ray Rice case has caused. And they caused a big uproar back then. And my initial feeling was, what does this have to do with Rihanna? Yeah, she was a victim of domestic violence, but that's the whole thing. She was a victim. She wasn't engaged. She wasn't charged with anything. She didn't do anything that deserved her music being cut. And then you hear this other story saying that they did it because they want to cover some stuff. And to me, there's a big difference between you're cutting it because of distraction, and you just want to cover the Ray Rice story. To their defense, and I'm saying this lightly, their defense, they did cut other stuff they were scheduled for the programming. But here's my problem here. Did CBS actually told Rihanna what they was going to do ahead of schedule? Did they say, listen, I know this is the last minute, but we're going to pull back on the music for this week. We will put it back next week, and once that's done, it's done. Or did they just did it without thinking of even talking to Rihanna or the Rock Nation of their reasoning for it, to avoid, and I say this very strong, to avoid any kind of backlash they may have. And that's the thing I think I think CBS have dropped the ball a little bit, is they should at least, if anything, just tell them what's going on. Just say, look, this is what's happening. We're sorry that we ain't going to use you this week, but we're guaranteed we'll be back next week. But we really want to stay focused on trying to cover this story. We don't want to make any hard of it. This is a very serious issue here. We'll promise you we will use the song next week, but do please understand that we can't use it this week. Not because you did anything wrong, but because we really want to stay focused. And most of the situation will be overwhelmed by Ray Rice. I'm pretty sure they would understand. I'm pretty sure they would at least say, okay, we understand. They probably would be a little upset, a little disappointed. Probably the music they played that particular week, especially during opening week. But I don't think it would have been as much as her going to a tweet and feeling like she's being penalized for something that has nothing to do with her. And that's where you're getting at here. She felt she's being punished. And I'm going to be honest with you, I felt that she was being punished for something that has for nothing. And it was like, why is they cutting her music for something that Rice did? That don't even add up here. So who knows how this thing situation is. I don't think we're gonna hear too much about it unless um, Rihanna and company wants to make a big situation about it, but I doubt it. But again, it is something that is kind of weird that they would do, and hopefully this don't damage them in terms of getting other music from Rock Nation or anybody else for that nature. Because when when you basically insult a music industry, they tend to follow suit on saying, we don't want to put my music in there to be spiteful, especially some of the stuff I've been hearing of late with their policies in terms of even Super Bowl performances. Yeah, that's kind of weird that they actually would try and charge, or at least are looking into charging performers to have the right to perform on that stage in Super Bowl, which I don't know. That just scratched my head, but that's a different topic for a different subject. As always, I'll leave a link below so you guys can check it out here, and we'll move on to the next story. A story that I've been reading up about caught my attention, and it's a story about minorities, women, and TV directors. Now, there was a new statistic that came out, and it's very, very, needless to say, it's very, very shocking, but it's pretty much saying that the majority of, there's still a large gap, put it that way, of young minority directors, female directors within the television division. According to the WRAP, also known as Associated Press, the numbers pretty much is head scratching. It says here that there hasn't been many strides made in diversifying directors pool in episode televisions, according to the Directors Guide of America. The new study released by the Guide Wednesday found that vast majority of episode TV directors are white and male. Analyzing more than 3,500 episodes produced in 2013 and 2014 network television seasons and 2013 cable season, the guide found that white male directed 69% of all episodes. White minority males directed only 17%, white women directed only 12%, and minority females directed just 2%. That's a staggering number, especially within the minority women in that field. That's just unbelievable. It said little change from the previous seasons. 72% of episodes were directed by a white male, 14% were directed by minority males, 12% again directed by white women, and only 2% by majority women. So there's definitely an issue that is being brought to attention. The article says while an uptick of minority male directors might seem like a glimmer of hope, the guy found that the entirety of the uptick was due to high numbers of episodes from a single director, and that director, of course, is Tyler Perry. Now, Tyler Perry is probably one of the most famous entrepreneur directors in the business. He runs his own stuff. Nobody tells him how to do anything with his stuff. And whether you like his movies or not, whether you consider him to be over preachy with his movies or just a person who doesn't know what the hell he's doing, one thing you gotta give him credit for, and I always admire him and respect him for, is that not only is he a good businessman, but he is one of the very few that hire minority actors in his role. He's very mixed and versatile with that, and he has kept a lot of actors who we haven't seen in years working, and for that I always give him tremendous respect for. With that being said, there's not too many people in Tyler Perry's field that owns their own work. There's Tyler Perry, and then that's it. We have seen a lot of producers of late who has stepped up, but no one near the mega power of Tyler Perry in the terms of Hollywood. That's how demanding he is. The only person demanding in the field of entertainment is Oprah. That's how powerful she is. So, yeah, there's no question that what they're saying is actually true, because there's not too many directors with his star power. Um, that can not only direct but also has his own production studio, also direct some episodes, also bring movies out the way he does. Again, you don't have to like his work, but you can be, but you gotta respect his business ethics when it comes to that. The series was popular with a popularity lacks of diversity in directors. Enough is earned back-to-back appearances on Guy's worst of lists, including Bates Motel, Boardwalk Empire, Is Always Sunny in Philadelphia, The Mini Project, and Workaholic. The article also concludes, unfortunately, we can't be shockingly difficult to convince the people who control hiring to make even small improvements of their hiring practices. The DGA percent of Paris Barclay but at the end result is something worth fighting for. This sounds a matter of all of us as a culture and as an industry, and as directors. People often say everybody's responsible for diversity, but in the end, that often means that nobody takes responsibility. It's time for people who make the hiring decision to be their studio network or producers, companies, individual producers, to stop making excuses, stop passing the buck, and start living up to the country's promise of possibilities and provide equal opportunity. I will leave a link below to this article. It's a very good article, and it will bring a lot of questions as to how do we go and proceed this. Here's the thing, and I'll say this before, and I'll say it again. Hollywood, you can't really force them to file a quota. That's the whole thing. If you do that, you're probably going to hire the wrong person for the wrong reasons. With that also being said, I'll say this, is that I think it's time for some of those producers, minority producers, women producers and directors, to really make their voices be heard and do their own thing and let them see, hey, look, we can hang with the big boys. This is our work here. YouTube is a perfect starting point, as well as other mass media, and basically work from there and continue going from there. Tyler Perry is a perfect example. Look at what the blueprint that Tyler Perry has done, because he didn't start out as a director. He started out small, and he worked his way big to the point where he is a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood. What I'm trying to get here is that I think that it works both ways. I want Hollywood to start, stepping up their game, stop making excuses, and start, hiring the talents that is out there, which they have not been doing that, and trust me, they have been paying the price. People have been taking notice. At the same time, I'm also looking for those directors, those producers, those actors to also step up their game and be more aggressive and say, hey, I got the script. Hey, I got this idea. Hey, let me direct this film. And they really pour it out there, because there's only so much that one side can do. It has to be an effort from both sides. And I feel that that's the one thing I think that people need to be mindful of when you say, we're going to hire this, we need to hire more of this, more of that. I think they should be equal for all of them, but I also feel there should be more of an aggression for those who are becoming producers and directors and screenwriters to actually step up and show what they can do and come up with projects that Hollywood have no choice but to take a look see. Again, this is something that's going to be a while. You would think that this will be resolved by now in this new generation. Unfortunately, it's not, and it probably won't be for years to come. But eventually, changes has to come. Tyler Perry has proven that he is one of the big guys in there, but it has to be an effort from both sides. And as much as Hollywood, I want him to hire those who are qualified minorities out there. I also want minorities to make their voice be heard and step up to the plate and give Hollywood a reason why to hire them. In other words, show your talents, show what you got, and be aggressive with it. Don't just expect them to just hire you. And with that, I'll move on to the other story of the day, and that's Miley Cyrus and her troubles with New Mexico. or Mexico City, I believe. I'm gonna say this right now, and it's Mexico. I apologize again. Um, for those stars who are going to other countries, be mindful. Don't disrespect their flag. This has happened with Madonna in Puerto Rico. This happened with other stars that I've heard that they use the flag, and even though they're not doing it to be disrespectful, their provocative style towards the flags can lead you to get booed off the stage, even banned from the countries. A lot of countries don't take kindly to their flag being desecrated in any way, shape, or form that represent their pride, that represent homeland. And you may not think of it as a big deal. Others don't see it the same way. This is what happened to Miley Cyrus here. A Mexican state legislation asked the country for a federal government to fine singer Miley Cyrus after one of her dances sparked Cyrus backslide with the Mexican flag as she twerked during an Independence Day performance. Cyrus, who was 21, who grabbed headlines for her, admitted drug use, sexuality suggestion dancing, suggested dance, and wearing as little as a pair of boots in a music video, was performing in Ontario in the northern state of Nova Leon. Local lawmakers, Francisco Tavella, said that the Vermont state legislature had approved a warrant for the Interior Ministry to enforce the law on the use of the flag. She or her team could be fined up to an equivalent of $1,200 or be detained for 36 hours. The Mexican authorities are often sensitive towards some signs of disrespect for their national symbol. In 2008, Pilar Rivera was fined for posing without a clothes but wrapped in the country flag, reported by Gabriel Lopez, writing by the Christian Murphy, edited by Kim Wells. So, again, look, you gotta be mindful with other countries' rules. You gotta be mindful of how one will react to what you're doing, because again, you may not think this is a big deal. It is a big deal. I've seen too many reports of this already. Madonna got in trouble in Puerto Rico for using their flag, and they wanted to jail her. She paid the fine, she kept it moving, and she never came back there again. But the point is that the flag means a whole lot to these countries, more than you think you realize, and they do take it very seriously. Very, very seriously. Now, I don't know what the overall outcome. They just might fine her, and she might just pay it and just keep it going. I seriously doubt she's going to get jail time for that. Or they might. I don't know. But I think they'd just rather her pay the fine and everything else, and that'll be it. And just keep it moving, just like most other stars. But please, guys, Motley, anyone who's going to be performing outside the country, be mindful. Do your performance. Just leave that flag out of it, please. You don't need that kind of heat on you, especially in a place where the rules are not the same as the United States. Leave a link to you guys so you can read the story yourself. And now we head to the final story, which I think a lot of people will be jumping for joy in hearing the news that Matt Damon might be coming back to his signature franchise, the Bourne series. Now, as you know, Matt Damon have walked away from the Bourne identity after the third installment. He was, for what I understood, was asked to come back for another one. He turned it down. Sources said he didn't like the script. The script for the movie that was then passed on to Mr. Jeremy Renner was the Bourne Legacy, a film that had my ups and downs with, but needless to say, a lot of people just didn't feel this was right without him. And now, after reports saying that that Matt Damon will be playing Bourne yet again. Now, is this possible because they didn't kill off Jason Bourne? They just said he was missing. He didn't know where he was, and they kept hinting that Bourne was still part of the universe by mentioning Jason Bourne's name in his picture, which I don't think helped the movie too much either. But this is what the report is saying from what we got here. They said that Matt Damon will return to play Jason Bourne after all, according to Deadline.com. Damon and Bourne Ultimatum director Paul Grillelas, I believe, are set to reunite for another Bourne movie. The duo's third and the franchise fifth overall. Universal will release this new Bourne film on July 16th of 2016. That is the unofficial date, of course. The date the studio previously held Jason Lynn's Bourne Legacy sequel with Jeremy Renner, the non-Bourne starring role. When reached for a comment by the Huffington Post Entertainment, the representative for Bourne representative for Damon directed to Universal. The studio representative, meanwhile, had no comment to pass along at this time. Rep from the Congress and conducted as well. This post will be updated and when they respond. So in other words, they're pretty much playing around with the whole thing, not surprising you. Damien and Gerza will come together again for the popular franchise. It is not a total surprise since the Bourne Ultimatum was released in 2007. Damon often talked about how much he enjoyed playing the character and how he would do it again if the story makes sense. I always been open to it. Paul Grillelas if the person he worked with for the director will come back. Damon said in CNBC in May for this year's, we've just never been able to come up with a story. So if any of you viewers have a story, please call Universal Studios and submit it. I remember this. I actually reported on this because it was very important why they would start a Bourne series without Bourne, especially the book they was basing Bourne on had Bourne in it, and of course they didn't even go close to the book. They basically did their own little spin towards the Bourne legacy. But a lot of people was lukewarm to the series, to that particular movie. Again, it wasn't terrible, but it just didn't feel right. It's almost like having a main character with his name that's not there. It's not the Bourne. It's the Bourne for a reason because of the character, and that was the big issue. I'm kind of wondering how they're going to do it. If there is, would that mean Jeremy Renner will be off the picture? I seriously doubt. I don't think they're going to just erase that storyline. I think both of them will end up being together. But only time will tell. Look, if this is going to be confirmed, if this is actually going to be true, and if it's come back, I'll be jumping for it. I'll be looking for it. The Bourne series overall never disappointed me. I liked it, all three movies. The fourth one was okay, but I'd rather see what happens, how Matt Damon will come about it with this film. It has been a while. I want to see if he can still do it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it if, and only if, Matt Damon does agree to come back. Well, that's all the stories I got here for now, guys. That's pretty much it, as always. I'll leave links to the stories I just talked about. Let you guys comment on it. I am going to talk about Jerry Jeter in a different segment because I think that should be a standalone. I originally wanted to do it as this segment, but I'll just leave it for another time. I will say that for those Yankee fans, if you guys are interested in seeing Jeter live one last time, you better do it ASAP. There's only 8 games left into the season, starting tonight. They face the Blue Jays, and that pretty much be it. The legacy ends after then. And when I say a legacy end, I do mean the legacy end. He was the last of that dynasty team to stay with the Yankees, and once he's gone, that pretty much he takes behind the last of that Yankee dynasty dating back to 1996. And I'll talk more about that because I have my own feelings towards the guy, as well as the Yankees dynasty that I have followed right up to this point. So, with that being said, this is Jason saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.